This is one of the most popular players in gaming history. From a sad and challenging childhood.
When David sadly passed away, I was left with Benji, who was like 8 months old. I had Charles, who was 7.
To a very successful pro Fortnite career.
Benji blocks it. Does he get the one pump?
Майка му стана такова добра.
And then quitting the game he loved.
I am officially quitting.
Абе, ти май, че има пари, ще му
and
отгреса с повече.
risking it
Брат,
all for a new
той има
challenge.
достатъчно.
This is
Има
the
достатъчно.
story of Benji. Benji
спокоен до края на живота.
Yes,
Да.
that is actually his government name. Turns out he was born with a built-in gamer tag.
Да,
Was
той те ли
born
са
on
казва,
April
брат?
2nd of 2004 in the UK. His life started out normal. A mom, a dad, and an older brother. But tragedy struck Benji's family when his father David passed away when Benji was just 8 months old. This left Benji's
Пусни
mom Anne alone to
субтитрите.
Да.
raise 2 very young kids. But Benji's mom, like many others, wanted her kids to have the best life possible. So she tried to support them in any way that she could. Growing up, Benji loved sports like cricket, rugby, and bowling.
Benji has always been really sporty. He's always been into his cricket, loves cricket, rugby, and also very much temping bowling.
Yeah, these trophies are from temping bowling. I started when I was like 3, and then I stopped by around like 10-ish. My knees and feet started getting pretty bad.
Unfortunately, however, because of his health issues, Benji was unable to continue bowling. So instead, he turned to gaming. And like many other Fortnite prodigies, Benji started gaming because his older brother did too.
Benji's got an older brother, Charles, who's 7 years older than him. So as a result of that, Benji's pretty much been gaming from a really
Тя
early
майка
age.
на Бенжи сигурно още стримва на Fortnite, брат.
I played COD, played Halo. I got a laptop for
Може
like
между
my
другото.
birthday or something. That's when I like first started.
Лега ли
playing.
играе
I
този?
can't remember like 7 or 8.
Дота ли,
Benji
лега ли?
jumped around video games like Call of Duty, Halo, League of Legends, and CSGO. But nothing really fit. Well, not until a certain Battle Royale game hit the market. In September of 2017, Fortnite Battle Royale took the world by storm. If you were alive in 2017, you could not avoid the word
Fortnite, 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 Fortnite.
So of course, it would catch the eye of a young gamer named Benji.
Season 3 I started like properly like grinding it. And then season 4, season 5 started getting into scrims and stuff.
Benji loved playing with his friends, but quickly started to get much better than his peers. He also started uploading highlight reels to his YouTube channel. His first ever video was uploaded on September 20th of 2018. In the video called
Майко,
Solo Duo Scrim
аз
Clutch,
писах, че
he did just
по-късно е
that.
дошъл.
He showed the last few minutes of a scrim match where he had to clutch the game with his duo down. And honestly, just from the video, you can tell that he is going to go far in Fortnite. His aim is absolutely insane, and he was even pretty entertaining on the mic, which a lot of kids his age that were so good at Fortnite, they didn't have that skill yet.
I beg you be the biggest bot team in the world. No, you are not telling me that is their base. Oh my fucking god, you're yeah, nice. You are kidding me. That is their base.
Майко, едно време имаше такива, брат, маля.
Benji seemed like a pro when it came to content creation so quickly, but it turns out this wasn't his first time trying.
My first game that I streamed wasn't Fortnite. I used to play a lot of CS. Like a lot. Like before Fortnite came out, I was a CS grinder. I was decent at it. I mean, considering I was like, it's probably when I was around 13. Yeah, I grinded pretty hard. I was able to get global. Yeah, I think I streamed like a few games of CS back in the day.
So since he had already started streaming in CSGO, it makes sense how such a young kid was so good at streaming. And because of this, he did start to gain some traction on his streams, but nothing like what was to come. It wasn't long before Benji was competing in Fortnite on a professional level and being invited to independent tournaments like the ScrimCon Pro Clash that happened on February 21st of 2019, and the Duo vs Squad 25k tournament that happened February 24th in 2019. And in both of these events, he happened to get first place, both of which he played with his new duo, Mr. Savage. And we'll talk more about Savage later because he plays a huge role in Benji's story. This incredibly successful tournament weekend earned Benji $10,400, which is insane for your first round of earnings. And let me remind you guys, Benji was still a kid at this point. He was only 14 years old. old. And like I said before, Benji's home life was a little bit troubling,
Тоест, дали
and
не
this
е
must have been amazing support
превъртял
for him
играта.
and his mom. And yeah, just to reiterate, if you didn't catch that, he's done everything I've mentioned so far in this video by the time he was 14. A brief competitive bowling career, bowling retirement, CSGO streamer, and pro Fortnite player, all by 14, which is insane. When I was 14, my biggest accomplishment was like not failing geometry. But speaking of school, however, Benji's non-stop gaming really started to affect his performance in his classes. It was hard to stay awake for math, or maths as they call it in the UK, when you're up all night getting no scopes. This is where most parents would have drawn the line and said no more gaming. But not Benji's mom. I mentioned earlier in the video that she would do anything she could to support her son through really anything. And I really meant that. And later on in this video, I'll even talk a little bit more about Ann Fishy and her story as well. Benji's mom actually encouraged him to drop out of traditional school and become homeschooled so that he could play more Fortnite.
It's more convenient.
What the fuck, майка му го е под такова ли?
Човек и лаптото да направи $10,000.
И то за 2 дена.
На 4... Да. На 14 утлиш.
Да, я ще му кажа да напуска.
Playing like a pro game. I can base it around my practice pretty much.
This decision to leave traditional school might sound like a no-brainer now in 2024, but many people judged people that were homeschooled back in 2019. To take a kid out of school to play video games at that time was not only unheard of, but Benji Fishy's mom definitely had people talking behind her back and saying that it was a bad parenting decision. That being said, Anne knew her son and knew that he was destined for great things. She just had to let him follow his passion. Isn't she like the best mom ever? Speaking of great moms, however, my mom actually has a message for you guys. Hey guys, it's Timmy FNBR's mom here again. Could you guys just subscribe to my son, please? Thank you. Thanks for that, mom, I guess. But back to the video. Following his big wins at those 2 previous tournaments I mentioned, Benji started to grind harder than ever. He earned in the Scallywag Cup, the Blackheart Cup, and the Lux. You name it, Benji was playing it and doing it well. His success started to get the attention of various pro gaming organizations, and on March 19th, 2019, Benji signed with NRG. This is actually the same org as his duo partner, Mr. Savage. It was a no-brainer.
Мен що никой не ми писал, брат, или сега що не ми пишат.
And even though Benji and Savage had only competed a few times together, it was clear they were building up to be a massive threat in the EU region. Despite signing with an org, Benji still hadn't gotten the opportunity to participate in a big LAN tournament yet. But that was all going to change when Fortnite announced its biggest LAN tournament of all time, the Fortnite World Cup. The Fortnite World Cup was announced in early 2019 and had an insane 40 million players across the world could compete in 10 weeks of qualifying tournaments. If you ranked high enough in these qualifiers, whether it was solos or duos, you would secure your spot in the finals all the way in New York City. This was not only the biggest Fortnite event of all time, but the biggest esports event
Той имаше 200 и колко хиляди.
And of course, Benji was ready to earn his
На
spot.
стадиона не знам колко имаш.
And things were
Не го
looking
знам
pretty
колко е голям.
promising for him. Him and Mr. Savage placed
60?
first place in the World Cup warm-ups for the EU region. So going into qualifiers, they were primed to make it to
Ютуб имаше още към 4
and
сцени.
luckily for Benji, that's exactly what he did. He qualified for the World Cup in the first
Няколко
round
милиона.
by placing 3rd in solos week 1 in EU. And after that, he followed up his incredible performance in solos with a win in the week 2 duos EU tournament where him and Mr. Savage earned a ticket to New York City.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're chilling, bro. We're chilling. Let's go. Good.
Да, брат, класираш се 67 хиляди в джоба. Директно.
Буквално.
Поне 67 хиляди.
These wins also meant that Benji was the first person to qualify for both solos and duos. But just because Benji had already qualified for the World Cup didn't mean he was going to stop playing the qualifiers, earn some more cash, and more importantly, prove that he was a force to be reckoned with. In week 6 and 10, Benji and Mr. Savage placed 3rd in EU duos. So it was clear that not only had they earned their spot in New York City, but they would be one of the favorites to take it home.
I'm Benji Fishy, and I'm a pro Fortnite player for NRG. And if I win the World Cup, I'm going to buy my family a house.
As you can see, there was a lot of pressure on Benji Fishy. I mean, winning the World Cup would be life-changing for anybody, let alone a young kid with a single mom who was trying to get out of their small one-bedroom house. With the biggest individual prize of the World Cup being $3 million, there was a chance that Benji and his mom might never have to rent a place, and all Benji had to do was win. And with his performances so far, winning was actually a realistic possibility. So Benji got on a plane and flew across Lucky Lake to the Big Apple of New York City.
I enjoy listening to it.
Oh, no, on me, on me.
I'm rotating. Follow me.
Duos were up to bat for the first day of the tournament.
Benji,
It's just so annoying.
need to be waking up. Come.
And this young duo put up a fight. The two of them placed 14
И то тогава
out of
Fortnite не
50
беше кой
duos,
знае,
just a
смисъл,
few
не знам
placements
човек,
away
не
from
знам.
winning extra money. But hey, they each got to take home $50,000 just for the duos portion, and luckily Benji still had the opportunity to win big in the Solos Cup the next day.
And at the end here, Benji Fishy, what more can you say about him? We're gonna go ahead and take a look. what
Тут
his
пък с
life is like
Fortnite
back
тениска.
at home.
Долу ляво. Брат, те с пари не знам, тогава те явно са ги изграндили от играта, брат.
I'm 15 years old. I live in the UK.
Nice, брат.
Fortnite, you gotta play a lot.
Benji Fishy trying to punish some of these players.
I'm definitely on par with pretty much every pro.
I love Benji Fish.
I'm very excited to go to World Cup. It's definitely gonna be one of the best things of my life.
То направо, брат.
Playing for his family, his
Гледай какво
mom,
става,
and
брат.
trying to do everything he can to make an even bigger name for himself.
This was his chance to win big. Benji and his mom could finally buy that house. But unfortunately for Benji, once again, he placed just outside of winning extra money in 25th place.
I was so close in both solos and duos to get extra money. Yeah, as I said, all I needed was that one pop-up game in both the duos and the solos, and I would have been top 10, top 5.
But hey, Benji did not go home empty-handed at all. When all was said and done, Benji flew back to the United Kingdom $100,000 richer than he was before. Benji came home from the World Cup a little bit disappointed, but also motivated to take what he thought was his and become a champion in Fortnite. Just because he didn't take home first place in the World Cup doesn't mean he still wasn't one of the best players in the world at this time. Just to put into perspective how good Benji is, over 40 million players competed to get into the World Cup, which means that he was better than almost every single one of those 40 million people, and that's crazy.
That's crazy.
But like I said, Benji had really high expectations for himself, and unfortunately he didn't meet
Тук
them
на
in the
какви
World
графики
Cup.
играе лудия, бе, брат.
We got
Пиксели
14
се виждат.
duos and I got 25 in solos.
От видеото.
I felt bad after it. I knew I was just as good as everybody else there.
He was,
Ма колко дебил.
I would
Пък
say,
сега като играе Valorant е много слабичък.
that he hadn't done as well as he wanted to.
But just because he didn't do as well as he wanted didn't mean he was just going to give up. Instead, he was going to take what he learned from the World Cup and come back even stronger. And boy oh boy, that is exactly what he did. Later on that year, Fortnite introduced FNCS, or
Брат.
the Fortnite Champion Series. And this was a whole new
Те в една
series
година,
of
братле, са
tournaments. And it was around
направили
this time,
15 турнира те
where
са.
Benji and his duo partner Mr. Savage decided to split ways. But that wouldn't last forever. We'll get back to Mr. Savage later. Fortnite announced that the new FNCS would be a trios game mode, so they started a brand new trio now known as MMB, which was Mongrel, Mitro, and Benji Fishy. To say that this trio was a threat to the rest of EU would be an understatement. I mean, these guys were good. In FNCS Season X, this dynamic trio would go on to win 10th in Grand Finals. Although this wasn't exactly their goal, as they wanted to place higher, they still did earn some great money, and on top of that, they won 4 cash cups in Season X. By the end of 2019, Benji earned almost $420,000
доволно му е.
just from Fortnite. Forgetting content creation and Twitch for the moment, that is
2019,
an
брат.
absolutely wild amount of money to make just by playing a video game. So it's pretty safe to say that even though he didn't win the World Cup, Benji probably got himself a nice house with his mom. And like I said a minute ago, Benji's main earnings might not have actually even been from Fortnite. Outside of being one of the best players in the game, his social media accounts were also popping off. By the end of 2019, Benji Fishy was sitting at an average of 15,000 viewers per Twitch stream, and his YouTube videos were getting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. Benji continued to compete and grind out content throughout 2020 and 2021, where he continued to place well and earn a lot of money. He took home $150,000 in professional earnings in 2020.
This play from Benji, the movement is crispy clean. My God, the movement is insane. Fallout. He's still moving forward. Somehow found himself with the front side of zone.
Тук вече наистина е
teams. He's looking for 1 or 2.
Тук вече играй.
My good day gets taken out. Benji now with 4. He's doing it
Син
almost
коча.
triple digits.
Тук сме ценно с днешните механики, брат.
Moving ever so much further from Benji. Benji still trying to grasp onto the light. There it is. Onto Seti. A second one from Benji. He's doing it. It's happening.
It is happening. We have manifested, chat. Benji Fishy is popping off right now. He's at 100 plus. He's at 115, and he's not done yet. He has a great inventory right now, Shio. He has Chug Splashes, minis, and big pots, and then gold spaz and a gold AR. He's in such a good spot. Benji's gonna get another one. That's gonna be rotary. Benji is going to get Benji's gonna get one more. Benji is on an absolute running rampage.
7 eliminations all the way down from height. 1 HP. Somehow gets to survive. 3 builds. Pump from high ground. Drops to low. Blocks it off. Another one. My God.
Още един, брат.
Той само се завърта и ги убива.
Да.
360 of total carnage. Benji Fishy. 9 eliminations. The God run. The curse
Майко.
broken.
Майко.
Low ground. Domination. Ferox taken out. The next one. Benji blocks it. Does he get the one pump? It's blocked. He's
Hey!
Benji Fishy. Oh my God. How are you doing this?
Ще умре.
And another 75,000 in
Bah!
2021. But by later in 2021, it was clear to Benji and his fans that his heart just wasn't necessarily in the game like it used to be. I mean, if you do anything every single day for 3, 4, or 5 years, you're bound to get a little bit bored of it. But Benji knew that he needed to make some sort of change if he wanted to keep competing professionally. So in late 2021, Benji did what everybody wanted him to do and reunited with his old duo partner, Mr. Savage.
The ultimate, the God EU duo has reunited in the United States of America.
We don't know exactly why the team reunited, but both Benji and Mongrel mentioned that they wanted to start playing with other duos, and it seemed like the split had no bad blood. Unfortunately, however, this reunion with Mr. Savage was not everything it hoped to be. As the team wasn't placing very well, it's hard to continuously compete in a game that you fell out of love with and aren't really doing so great at. So on June 24th of 2022, Benji decided to quit Fortnite forever.
I am officially quitting competitive Fortnite to pursue Valorant. Recently, I've
Нали, той сега е професионален Valorant player.
Play Fortnite like
Спечели World Cup.
hours a day, but even last season, I was only playing during the tournaments just because I really couldn't force myself to get on the game.
For those that knew Benji well and watched his streams, they could already
Колко
see
пари пак е
that
спечелил?
Benji was falling in love with a brand
много
new
не знам.
game called Valorant. So the switch to this new game didn't come out of nowhere. Because Benji was quitting Fortnite, however, he did have to leave his long-term org, NRG,
той го е
and
ливнал ли, бе?
officially left on December 17th of 2022. At this time, a lot of the biggest Fortnite players and creators were leaving at this time, so I don't really blame the guy. People like Tifu and Ninja were all slowly jumping ship to other games or just simply quitting the internet for good. Switching games, however, for an esports pro is really risky. Imagine a professional soccer or football player suddenly deciding they want to be a pro basketball player.
Да,
I mean,
има
just
нещо такова
because you're
между
good at
другото.
one video game doesn't always mean you're gonna immediately be a pro at another one.
Наистина
Not to
така е по
mention
принцип.
that for the content side, sometimes your viewers don't want to watch you play a different game. But Benji was different. He was determined that he was gonna be a pro gamer no matter what, and he was gonna do what he loved, regardless of whether or not.
Брат, с тези развития с шоки направо не мога приема на сериозно.
And he was good at it, but he was still a free agent. And Valorant is a little bit different than Fortnite when it comes to playing professionally. You can't just load up and queue for a tournament. You need to be signed to a team if you want to play in any big tourneys. So Benji decides to sign on to a tier 2 Valorant team, which maybe he was a little bit too good for, but he knew that if he played well on this team, he could catch the eye of some of the bigger teams. And that's exactly what happened. Benji Fishy caught the eye of the very popular Team Heretics. This was one of the best teams in the Valorant community. And at the beginning of this year, Benji also won an award from the Valorant community for being a rising star. Plus, playing Valorant brought a whole new audience to Benji's social media accounts. Although he's not quite getting as many viewers as he used to do in his prime in Fortnite, he's still pulling thousands of average viewers every stream. And perhaps more importantly, Benji looks happy. At the end of the day, we would all love for Benji to come back to the Fortnite scene, but I think we all care more about Benji and his happiness than we do about making him do what we want. And although this might be the end of Benji's Fortnite journey, it's clear that this won't be the last time we see him. This is only the beginning of Benji Fish. Thank you guys so much for watching, and click right here if you guys would want to watch another one of my videos. I'll catch you in the next
За
one.
майка му дали има някакво видео, брат?
Не знам. Какво кажеш? А напиши.
Брат, мама Бенжи или нещо, ако напише.